holy things. Keep the Sabbath holy, says Exodus 20 and 8. A higher sanctified that beautiful day. He said, remember my saints. On the 7th day he rested, commanded us to do the same. Have holy convocation, only do holy things. Exodus 20 and 8, a higher sanctify.
A higher willing, they'll be able to reference this video and this recording to help guide them to the Most High through His words and His words only. So, first and foremost, we're going to deal with what is the Sabbath, right? Right. So we're going to start off in Ezekiel 20 and 12. Ezekiel 20 and 12. And it says, moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctify them. So, you know, when we talk about the Sabbath, you know, everybody knows that the Sabbath is the seventh day, but then it's not common knowledge to everybody because of, you know, Job 9 and 24 says the earth is in the hands of the wicked. So a lot of people are deceived on what day the Sabbath is. Some people are, you know, some really God-fearing people that go to church on a Sunday thinking that they're keeping the Sabbath of the Most High, when in fact the Bible says contrary. You know,
only do holy things. Keep the Sabbath holy, says Exodus 20 and 8. I
have repeatedly offered $1,000 to anyone who can prove to me from the Bible alone that I am bound to keep Sunday holy. There is no such law in the Bible. It is a law of the Holy Catholic Church alone. The Bible says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The Catholic Church says, no, by my divine power I abolish the Sabbath day and command you to keep holy the first day of the week. And lo, the entire civilized world bows down in a reverent obedience to the command of the Holy Catholic Church. T. Enright, CSSR, in a lecture at Hartford, Kansas, February 18th, 1884. The Catholic Church for over 1,000 years before the existence of a Protestant, by virtue of her divine mission, changed the day from Saturday to Sunday. The Catholic Mirror, September 23rd, 1893. Question: which is the Sabbath day? Answer: Saturday is the Sabbath day. Question: why do we observe Sunday instead of Saturday? Answer: we observe Sunday instead of Saturday because the Catholic Church in the Council of Laodicea, AD 336, transferred the solemnity from Saturday to Sunday. Peter Geierman, The Convert's Catechism of Catholic Doctrine, 2nd edition, 1910, page 50. Question: have you any other way of proving that the Church has power to institute festivals of precept? Answer: had she not such power, she could not have done that in which all modern religionists agree with her. She could not have substituted the observance of Sunday, the first day of the week, for the observance of Saturday, the seventh day, a change for which there is no scriptural authority. Stephen Keenan, A Doctrinal Catechism, page 174. There is but one church on the face of the earth which has the power, or claims power, to make laws binding on the conscience, binding before God, binding under penalty of hellfire. For instance, the institution of Sunday. What right has any other church to keep this day? You answer by virtue of the third commandment. The papacy changed the fourth commandment and called it the third, which says, remember that thou keep holy the Sabbath day. But Sunday is not the Sabbath. Any schoolboy knows that Sunday is the first day of the week. I have repeatedly offered $1,000 to anyone who will prove by the Bible alone that Sunday is the day we are bound to keep, and no one has called for the money. It was the Holy Catholic Church that changed the day of rest from Saturday, the seventh day, to Sunday, the first day of the week. T. Enright, CSSR, in a lecture delivered in 1893.
Thank you, Bishop.
The day has never changed. Malachi 3 and 6, it says, I am the Lord, I change not. So we're going to tap into, the distinctions of the Sabbath, what it is and how important it is, right? So according to Ezekiel 20 and 12, it is a sign between us and him, all right? Now, I do want to let this be known too. We are going to go into not only the Bible, but we're also going to go into the book of Jubilees, because the book of Jubilees is very important when you're trying to understand the law. Why is that? Because it gets into great detail on certain things that you might not be privy to when just reading the Bible. There's more things about keeping the Sabbath and keeping the Most High's law that's why these books were taken away. So we are going to touch on some scriptures in the book of Jubilees. So again, according to Ezekiel 20 and 12, it is a sign between us and him. So just by keeping the Sabbath, when it talks about sanctify yourself, sanctification or sanctify means to be set apart. So that sign is setting you apart from all those who don't keep the Sabbath and all those who don't keep the laws and commandments of the Most High. So it's a sign between us and him. All right. That's his people. This is his people. They keep his Sabbath. Next, we're going to go to Exodus 31 and 13. Exodus 31 and 13. Okay. So I'm going to read this. Exodus 31 and 13. It says, spake thou unto the children of Israel, saying, verily, my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord, that doeth sanctify you, right? So there it goes again, him saying that it is a sign between us and him, right? It says, verse 14, ye shall keep the Sabbath thereof, Salakia, therefore, for it is holy unto you. So when he's asking, what is the Sabbath? This is a sign between us and the Most High. What is the Sabbath? It is holy unto us. It is holy unto him. It is a holy thing unto the people that fear God, right? It's I'm going to read 14 again. Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. Now, I want to keep that in the back of your mind, because according to the doctrine that comes from these theologian schools, which is trickled down from the Catholics, who are the same people who hung the Messiah, they are telling, they're basically bending the scriptures to make people think certain things. So like when it says be put to death, we automatically think, well, oh yeah, man, that's the Old Testament. So, we're not going to stone nobody to death. Yeah, all praises to the Most High. Since the Messiah came, that's something that we don't do, right? However, reminder, please keep that in mind, because as we progress, there's something very interesting that's going to come out pertaining to that. So it says, ye shall keep, verse 14, Exodus 31 and 14, ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second, because this is a very important thing. And I really want to share this with the brothers and sisters. And this is a revelation that I've received through conversations or speaking with other brothers and stuff like that. And being able to take the meat and actually toss away the bones. And I'm going to say this. The way that is being shown to a lot of us today in this understanding of awakening is that we have grace. I agree. We do have grace. We do have grace. However, I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to mention it again, because the Bible, the Most High has never forsaken his people. This scripture is left as a blueprint for us to get back. Okay, and I must say this. Throughout captivity, the book of Daniel shows us very clearly how to operate. Now, I'm saying this because the scriptures also say, think not what you shall eat, nor what you shall drink. Okay. What we have been taught is that when it comes to the Sabbath and stuff like that, because we're in captivity, that we can just, apply grace right there and just keep it moving. Right now.
Remember my sayings. On the 7th day he rested, commanded us to do the same, have holy convocation.
Right now, I would say this, from what I see with scriptures and the precepts and the scriptures that's going to come out, is especially when you read things, when it says things like think not what you shall eat. He talks about how he feeds the animals and all of that stuff. He clothes the lilies. Don't worry about your clothing and stuff like that. When it comes to this truth, we are really supposed to stand hard on this thing. Grace is bestowed on something that is more so something that is out of our control to a degree, and I think that we are tending to use it a little bit more than we should in these days, because again, in the book of Daniel, it tells us when you look at how Daniel operated through his captivity, through serving these kings of Babylon, similar to what we are in right now, you would notice that he was willing, he did not think for what he shall eat or drink. He was willing to lose his life before he defiled the Most High's commandments. And he was employed by the king. You know what I mean? He was his advisor. Now, here in Babylon, we are employed by our captives. You see what I'm saying? But the truth be told, we are not supposed to allow our captivity to defile us against the Most High. And at the end of the day, if we are walking by faith and not by sight, and we really relying on the Most High and engaging the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and engaging the truth, believing wholeheartedly in what he says without doubting, we will not have no worries for what we shall eat or what we shall drink or how we be clothed, because we know that he'll take care of us. Now, I'm saying this to say this. When it talks about being cut off from among your people or being put to death, this is a very serious thing. And I'm going to also touch on why right now you'd have somebody not keep the Sabbath, because they probably, think it's not that serious, or, he don't keep it and nothing happened to him. I'm going to read, man, when we touch these scriptures, man, I pray that, you look at the Sabbath in a whole different way, because I was talking with my wife and then, building this study and, through the Spirit of the Most High, I was like, whoa, because I saw something that I'm going to bring out for sure through the Spirit. But long story short, when it comes to this captivity and working, we are to definitely fight for our Sabbaths. All these other nations and all these other people that have some kind of quote unquote religious lifestyle or attachment to them, they all have some sort of respect for their belief. But when it comes to this Hebrew walk, I would like to say that we are probably flexing the grace a little bit beyond what it was meant to be. And I'm going to say this because Daniel went to the lion's den before he refused to break before he broke the commandment of the Most High. He didn't think nothing about anything other than the commandments of God. And that talks about he who will try to save his life shall lose it. These are precepts to keep in mind because the Bible says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. I'm just coming here trying to encourage brothers and sisters to really hold fast to this Sabbath and really anchor down on this thing. If your job is trying to make you work on the Shabbat, look at what Daniel did. You might have to take that L and pray to the Most High. He will clothe you just like he does the lilies. He will feed you just like he does the sparrows. You know what I mean? And the animals of the field. So I'm saying this because when you read scriptures like Exodus 31 and 15, when it says 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy unto the Lord. Whosoever do any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. This stuff is some serious stuff. Verse 14, it says, ye shall keep the Sabbath. Therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off. Cut off from what? Cut off from what? Now, I know that the promises are at hand. Salvation is at hand. Who would like to be cut off from those things? You know what I mean? So this is a very serious matter. And that part about death, please keep that in your mind. Because we're gonna bring out some edification on that. So all I'm trying to say is, don't let your captivity force you to go against the Sabbath, go against the Most High, right? And I'm gonna touch on these scriptures, man. We're gonna go through them, and it's gonna bring a lot of understanding, especially with grace. We're also gonna touch on how grace is and what it's for, but it's not. I firmly believe that the way we are being shown to use it is very loosely, and this thing is a very serious thing. So we're gonna keep on going here. Verse 15, Exodus 31 and 15. It says, 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest. holy unto the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Verse 16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. So this is throughout all generations, including ours right now, right? So this thing is not something that's going away. And notice it says holy unto the Lord. So who are we? If it's holy unto the Most High, it has to be holy unto his people. And we have to hold fast onto that. All right. Verse 17, it says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. Not just in the Old Testament. Okay. Forever. Right. It says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. So it's also a day of rest, right? A day of rest so we can be refreshed from all of this labor, right? From since Adam, he says, he shall eat by the sweat of your brow. So he has given us a day to relax, a day to rest, right? A day to worship and so forth. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 58 and 13. All right. Isaiah 58 and 13. You know, also in the Apocrypha, give another example of how when he says, you know, he that shall seek his life shall lose it and so forth. You look in the Apocrypha with the woman who had the children and they try to, you know, cause her to go against the Most High's commandment. You know, she was willing to die behind that, and she did. But she's blessed in the kingdom to come because she didn't let her captivity or anything like that cause her to go against the Most High's will. And I'm will. And I'm saying these things because these are reference points. This is a blueprint. It's a blueprint. And what he's telling us is basically how to make the machine work, or how to make these commandments allow us to be blessed. Right? So we can't put carnal thoughts before a spiritual walk.
But you know what? Here's the good thing. When you set boundaries.
Yeah.
Up front.
Up front.
Here's what my commitment is. So we all agree.
Love this,
before we even take the job or go down the road.
Yeah.
Here's the commitment.
Yeah.
Are we all agreeing this is okay?
Mm-hmm.
So then all I have to do is just make sure I keep the commitment.
Yeah.
Because the moment I break it
Yes.
is the moment they realize, oh, well, he wasn't that serious. Mm-hmm. But for me, Sabbath is a time to recharge. It's a time to rest. It's a time to spend time with my family. It's a time to spiritually reconnect.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
What is interesting is that you allow your faith, your belief in God, to be at the forefront of who you are in a place where most of us, and you even say in the book, I remember when I said to my father, I was like 13, 14, Dad, I'm going to be an actress. No daughter of mine is going to be going out to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh, boy.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
You know the line.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah. So you're working as an intern with Will Smith.
Yes.
You say to them,
Yeah.
look, I have to have the Sabbath off, which may I just confess that I learned in my first meeting with Devon. All these years I thought the Sabbath was Sunday. Yeah. I've been going to church. We say worship on the Sabbath, worship on the Sabbath in the Baptist church. And you corrected me. You said, no, Sunday is the first day of the week. Yeah. Sabbath is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown.
That's right.
I stand corrected.
Amen.
So you go to your first job with Will Smith and say, look, I'm really excited to be here, but I have to have Friday
night sundown, Saturday night sundown off. And what happened was,
Weren't you scared to say that?
Yeah, I was scared. It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't intentional, but I'm there in the interview.
Yes.
And God starts to, literally, it feels like he's speaking to me. You know, because everything goes great. I feel like, okay, yeah, I got this in the bag. You know how you just go in and you land, hey, it's all good. But at the end of the interview, it was like God was saying, tell her about the Sabbath. And I'm like, no, I'll tell her after I get the internship.
After I get the
after
job,
I get what I want.
I'll tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
But he said, no, be obedient. And so I said, man, all right, well, here's the thing. I can't take this internship if I have to work Friday night, sundown, or Saturday night, sundown, because I observe the Sabbath. And she was quiet. And then after a moment, she said, don't worry, work around that. And I said, hallelujah. And what it did was it gave me confidence that if I embrace who I am, it will open doors, not shut them. Also,
that's really big. Hold that a moment. Pause. Tweet. Okay, good. Go ahead.
But also, speaking about doors, right?
Yeah.
If your faith won't fit in the door that opens, then I argue, do not walk through that door. The door that God has opened for you will fit your faith.
That's such a tweet. I have to take a break.
You know what I'm saying? Now, whatever you do from here after this study, that's between you and the Most High. But, you know, our job is to proclaim the truth. And the truth is that grace is more so for situations that are out of our control, or situations that are overwhelmingly too much, right? But he never gives us too much we can't handle. So, you know, and again, we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that. So right now, we're in Isaiah 58:13. And as always, I'm open for reproof. Always open for reproof, okay? But I'm going to speak through the scriptures. All right, Isaiah 58:13, it says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thine own pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight. So what is the Sabbath? The Sabbath is a sign between us and the Most High. The Sabbath is a holy thing. It is a day of rest. It is a day of refreshment, and it is a delight to those that love God. All right? It's not a burden. It says, if thou shalt turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, right? From doing thine own pleasure. So everything that we do has to have some reference to the Most High on the Shabbat. Okay, also known as the Sabbath, or the seventh day, Saturday, right? It says, Isaiah 58:13, if thou shalt turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thine own pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasures, nor speaking thine own words. That's why we have to speak as the oracles of the Most High. It tells you that we are supposed to be going through the law on the Shabbat. See what the Most High is talking about. Refresh our mind and our spirit through the word, right? Verse 14, then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. So by us keeping the Sabbath, calling it a delight, allowing it to be a day of rest and a day of worship, right? That we honor the Most High. And it is set up as a sign between us and him. You know, there's blessings behind this thing, right? Okay. Let's go to Exodus 20:8. All right. We all know this, right? We know this. And if you don't, all praises to the Most High, right? And if you do know this, all praises to the Most High, right? You get all praises. So this is Exodus 20, right? This is where you find the 10 commandments, okay? So we're going to deal with the commandment of the Shabbat, also known as the Sabbath or the seventh day, okay? It says right here, remember the Sabbath day. So what is it? It's something to remember, something to keep in your mind, something to be acknowledge when it's coming, right? When it's here. It says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, right? 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Okay? So no work is supposed to be done on the Shabbat. Okay? That's what the Shabbat is. It's a day of rest. Verse 11. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. So if the Most High rested on the seventh day, after he finished all creation, and he rested with no work, how come we can apply grace and just pop it in there and say we're going to work on the Shabbat too, right? But he's saying something very clear here. His ways are higher than ours. And if the Most High is not doing it, then why would we do it? Even through captivity. And Daniel knew that. Daniel knew that. That's why he didn't play with the commandments even through captivity. We're to be as stern as possible with it. Now, when it comes to grace, grace is applied like he talks about the sheep in the hole. There's situations where grace is there. Why is that? Because by you extending a blessing onto another one, that cannot be sin. You see what I'm saying? But like he says, think not for what you shall eat, nor what you shall wear and stuff like that. We're not supposed to really be playing around with this Sabbath day like that. And again, the scriptures that we're going to bring out, man, it really fortifies it, man. And, we'll see. All right. So we're going to go to Mark 2 and 21, 2 and 27, Salakia. Mark 2 and 27. All right. So again, the title of this study is What is the Sabbath and How to Keep It. All right. But I must say, man, when you look at, I believe it's Proverbs 20 and 16, it says, a man that wandereth out of understanding from the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Keep that in mind, because again, like it says, he shall be put to death. Our minds are only thinking of the stoning, and that's it. Christ came, so no stoning. Is that where it ends? Is the question we need to ask ourselves. And through these precepts, we're going to show that that's not where it ends. It's man. All right, so we right here, Mark 2 and 27, and it reads, red letter, of course, and he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath, right? So we know very clearly, what is the Sabbath? The Sabbath was made for man, right? It was made for us to get a day of rest. The Most High took that rest, and he was like, well, these are my children. You know, I am their God. You can have that day as well. It's made for us to have that refreshment, right? So it's made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So a lot of times we look at that like, okay, well, grace in certain areas, right? And Christ told us what the grace is applied to, right? When it comes to the laws and commandments, if somebody is starving, you feed them. If you have to purchase something to feed that person, he's starving or something like that, that's when grace is applied. We're not supposed to purchase or stuff. We're not supposed to buy or sell on the Shabbat. But for this person that is your brother, they're starving, you buy them something to eat. Those things is where grace is applied, right? But when it comes to particular things, man, we really have to pick and choose which ones we're going to do, right? Which ones, because certain situations weigh more than others. You know what I mean? And this captivity is set up for you to lose. It's set up for us to fall off. You know what I mean? Please understand that. So your job is not forcing you to work on the Sabbath by accident. You know what I mean? And when the law was passed for Daniel not to pray to the Most High like that, that wasn't set up for him to win. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? So, like the scriptures say, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath, right? But we got to understand what that's saying. It's not just saying to deal with the Sabbath any old way. And, it's sad to say that it kind of comes off like as if grace is a credit card. You know what I mean? It's just stored up there, you know. Well, I got to do this, just run it and whatever, you know what I mean? I'll pay for it later. Yeah, you know, man, I'm going to just keep reading. Let's go to Leviticus 23 and 1. Salakia, Leviticus 23 and, Salakia, Luke 23 and 56. Luke 23 and 56. All right. Again, I'm open for reproof, you know, and grace be abound. Christ came and allowed us to receive grace. But this stuff is it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the Most High, man. I must say, you know, he didn't allow the Roman persecution to defile him in any way. You see what I'm saying? So we just got to look at these things, man. Right now we're in Luke 23 and 56. Right? And I'm saying this because there's certain things that is shown or taught that, you know, we have to really seek out and pray for and for more understanding for ourselves. You know what I mean? Luke 23 and 56, it says, and they returned and prepared spices and ointments and rested on the Sabbath day according to the commandment. So the Sabbath is also a commandment. Okay? We still talking about what is the Sabbath. All right? It's a sign between us and him. It is holy. It is a delight. It should be a delight to you, right? It's the seventh day of the week. It was made for man, and it is a commandment. Okay? Hold on a second. Okay, so next I'm going to go to Leviticus 23 and 1. All right? So we're going to touch on, now we know what it is through the scriptures, just letting the scriptures talk, not me. We're going to go to Leviticus 23 and 1. All right. Scriptures say, man, you know, we're supposed to preach salvation to the captives, man. And, you know, we all want to make it in. When it comes to this thing here, man, we have to deal with these laws and commandments very delicately, not loosely. Not loosely, very delicately, man. And that's all I'm saying. You know, your salvation is your salvation. But all I'm saying is this thing is, you don't want to gamble on the wrong bet. You know what I mean? It's better to really be as focused on it as possible. You know, and you know, I'm gonna just keep reading. Leviticus 23 and 1. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts, right? So on the Sabbath, it's also a holy convocation. It's a holy convocation as well. Right now, the Sabbath is in full swing, right? It started as soon as the sun set. And right now, what we're doing here is having a holy convocation. A holy convocation is an assembly, a gathering of the people. Right? We might not all be physically gathered right now, but we are gathered in the spirit, and Christ is amongst us right now. Right? When two or three are gathered, Christ is in the midst. It's a holy convocation. Right? And he says, even these are my feasts. Verse 3, it reads, 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. There it goes again. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Okay, so when you look from here down, all these the 7 feasts are also considered Sabbaths. You have Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, First Fruits, or Feast of Weeks, Trumpets, Day of Atonement, and Tabernacles. Those are all considered Sabbaths, and you can read the rest of that chapter for yourself, and get more understanding on how it's a Sabbath. but those are considered Sabbath days as well. But there's something very special about the Sabbath day, the seventh day. All right. So I just want to touch on, because I mentioned that when the sun set on a Friday, that's actually the Sabbath. I just want to show real quick in Genesis 1 that the Sabbath is actually activated when the sun sets on Friday. Okay, on the sixth day when the sun goes down, that's actually the beginning of the Sabbath day. The beginning of, so just put out your mind whatever was taught to you by the world and how time works, it's off. Okay, and the Most High, let God be the truth and every man a liar. So this is Genesis 1 and 4. It says, and God saw the light, that it was good, and Ahia divided the light from the darkness. And Ahia called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Right? So you got light and day. Here it goes right here. And the evening and the morning was the first day. The world teaches us morning first, then the evening. But according to the time of the Most High, the darkness was there first, and then he created the light in the darkness. So the evening is first, and then when the sun sets, the evening is first, and the morning is more further into the day. The beginning of the day is the evening. Okay? And when you read everything that he created in Genesis 1, you'll notice that every time he ended that day, he would say the evening and the morning, putting the evening first. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40, all things in decency and order. The order of the Most High is evening first and then the morning. So when the sun sets, that is a new day. Okay? Not 12 o'clock, none of that stuff. So I'm going into all of this stuff because this is reference points and good things to share with those that may not have this. Okay? Now we also gonna get into some meat now. We're gonna touch on some meat, but we're gonna still keep it milky at the same time. Okay? But this is some very important stuff. So now we're gonna go to the book of Jubilees. Okay? Book of Jubilees right here. Alright? And I'm gonna go to chapter 2. Chapter 2, verse 25. Alright? Jubilees 2 and 25. If you don't have the book of Jubilees, you can look it up, PDF, or you could just listen along while I read it. Jubilees chapter 2, verse 25. It reads, he created heaven and earth and everything that he created in 6 days, and Ahia made the seventh day holy for his works. It says, therefore he commanded on its behalf that whoever doeth any work thereon shall die. Right? And that he who defileth it shall surely die. We read that earlier, right? Okay. But here just check this out. It gets more serious. Verse 26. Wherefore do thou command the children of Israel to observe this day, that they may keep it holy, and not do thereon any work, and not to defile it. Here it goes. Now, when you're talking about the Sabbath day, all things in decency and order, the Sabbath day is more holy than all of the feast days because it was the day of rest after creation. And I'm pretty sure the Most High has even more reasons why, which is beyond my strength. But we're going to speak on what we have right here in front of us. Okay? So, I'm going to read verse 26 again. It says, Jubilees 2 and 26. Wherefore do thou command the children of Israel to observe this day, that they may keep it holy, and not do thereon any work, and not to defile it, as it is holier than all other days. It says here, and whoever, please listen to this, because we was talking about breaking his commandments and doing work on the commandments. Now we're going to see why I'm trying to say, please do not play with the Sabbath. Whatever was told prior to this, what we about to touch on right now, please just take heed to what we about to read and understand how it affects your salvation, and understand why the Most High says, think not what you shall eat or what you shall wear, even in your captivity. And that's exactly what Daniel did. I'm going to read this. Verse 27. And whoever profaneth it shall surely die. And whoever doeth thereon any work shall surely die eternally. We're not talking about a stoning there. I'm going to read that again. Verse 27. And whoever profaneth it shall surely die, and whoever doeth any work thereon shall die eternally. That the children of Israel may observe this day throughout their generations, and not be rooted out of the land. For it is holy, it is a holy day and a blessed day. Now, why is this not mentioned when people are talking about using grace so freely? Oh, just do it. You know what I mean? But the Bible says, you know, we got to keep these precepts, right? Through these precepts, we gain understanding. He says very clearly, think not what you shall eat, nor what you shall drink. If your captivity and your captor is causing you to break the Shabbat, understand what we just read here. I'm going to read it one more time, right? Verse 27. I'm going to start from 26, because it is holier than all days, including the feast days. The Sabbath is the top of the chain. It says here, wherefore do thou command the children of Israel to observe this day, that they may keep it holy, and not do thereon any work, and not to defile it, as it is holier than all other days. And whoever profaneth it shall surely die. And whoever doeth thereon any work shall surely die eternally. So it's not talking about stoning there. Okay? It says that the children of Israel may observe this day throughout their generations, and not be rooted out of the land, for it is holy. It is a holy day and a blessed day. Now, I'm also touching on some other things that is pertaining to that too, that it's beyond my strength. So I'm gonna mention it. I'm gonna bring it out. We're gonna touch on it, and you know, pray for more understanding. But I'm kind of seeing something there. But anyway, I'm mentioning this because, again, this was an eye-opener for me, because, you know, I've read this before, but going back to it and reading it again, and seeing what's going on there when it's talking about eternal death, not a stoning, that's something to definitely keep in our minds. So early in the study, I was talking about how, you know, you might have people that don't keep the Sabbath, and they just think it's okay. Right? Or, well, nothing happened to me now, or nothing happened to this person or to that person. But understand, from what we're seeing here, it's talking about dying eternally. That's your soul, you know, being destroyed. All right, so we're going to keep going. So now I'm going to go to, so when we're talking about what is the Sabbath, it is holier than all days, including feast days. It is the highest of all days, period. All right. So now we're going to go to Psalms 147 and 19. Right. So we're going to start talking about how to keep it, how to operate in it. You know, because now we know what it is. We touched on what it is and the importance of it. Right. And you know, all I'm trying to do is provoke on the good works. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, hey, I'm nothing but a brother just trying to, you know, be a servant unto my people, man. So, you know, if you don't take heed to what I'm saying, so, you know, that's between you and the Most High. I'm nobody but a speck of dirt. And I'm just reading from the Bible, reading from the scriptures, reading from the word and the blueprint that's left for us. All right. So in no way am I trying to tell anybody what they should do. What I'm saying is, I'm not even saying anything. I'm actually reading from the book. All right. So Psalms 147 and 19. And again, I'm always open to reproof and correction because I fear God. Okay. So please, if you got something that I'm off on, please help me out. Okay? It's invited. All right? So this is Psalms 147 and 19. He showeth his words unto Jacob, the 12 tribes. Right? His statutes and judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. He has not dealt with any other race or any other family of the earth like he has dealt with Jacob. Jacob is the 12 tribes of Israel, right? All 12 tribes, which are the so-called minorities this day. When you read Genesis 49, you look at it prophetically, you can identify the people. Deuteronomy 28 and 68 and 28 from 14 all the way to 68. Those curses is how you identify the people. All right. So he's saying he hath not dealt so with any nation or any race, right? As for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So give thanks to the Most High for him allowing us to even have this Sabbath, right? For allowing us to be a part of this situation. Right, so his laws were given to Israel. So when you see people of another nation that might not even acknowledge the Sabbath, right? You might have probably an Asian friend or something, or even people that are of the 12 tribes that don't even know that's not keeping the Sabbath. Understand, one, they probably don't know who they are. A lot of our people really don't know who they are, right? Hosea 4, it says, my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. We need to know who we are as a people and understand our position with these laws and commandments. So his laws were given unto Israel. I'm going to go to Romans 9 and 4, right? Because when he gave those laws to us, there's something we are supposed to do with that since Christ came, right? Christ came and we are to show and teach the other nations how to keep the commandments of the Most High, right? Israel, or also known as Jacob, or the 12 tribes of Israel, are to be a light unto the world. A light with what? With the righteousness of the Most High, the laws and commandments of the Most High, right? So this is Romans 9 and 4. So when we were given these laws and commandments according to and statutes according to Psalm 147, we're supposed to do something with it. Romans 9 and 4, it says, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law. So these laws was given unto us to the Most High, and he has allowed us to get into these scriptures and learn and understand what it's saying and the commandments and how we're supposed to move. And we're supposed to teach the other nations how to do it. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Isaiah 14 where it tells you that basically it balls up, and I'm gonna just give a summary of what that portion is talking about. It's letting you know that the earth is out of control because the children of Israel is not giving the laws to the people. You see what I'm saying? But like he says, in the last days, he shall pour out his spirit and knowledge shall be increased. So we waking up right now. But when we get the laws of the Sabbath, the laws and commandments that we have to keep, we are to spread the word, right? Because whether you are Israelite or a Gentile, when salvation is at hand, everybody has to serve the Most High the way he wants it done, which was shown unto Israel. Okay, so Psalms 147, he gave the laws and commandments to Israel. Romans 9 and 4, Israel's to teach the other nations. But first, teach each other. First the Jew, then the Gentile. Teach each other. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40, all things in decency and order. All right, so we were talking about our captivity and how it puts a dampening on the commandments that we have to keep. They really trying to keep the valley of the dry bones, or those that are still asleep and not awoken to know that they are God's people. The whole scheme is to keep you defiled and separated from the Most High. So what do? we're going to see. Let's go to Lamentations 1 and 7. Lamentations 1 and 7. Okay? This is what our captivity is doing to us. And this is what Daniel was not allowing to happen. Right? At least not on his watch. The Bible says, who will stand up for the Most High? But understand, your salvation is your salvation. It don't matter what the next person next to you doing. Hey, you know, and like I said, I'm nothing but a servant, man, and I'm just sharing what I received from what I've been reading and looking at with these scriptures. Okay, so Lamentations 1 and 7. This is what captivity does to the Most High's commandments. It says right here, Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, that which was then is now, and none did help her. The adversary saw her and did mock at her Sabbaths. Okay? That's what captivity does to this beautiful thing that the Most High set up for his people. This sign that he has set up for his people. They mock at the Most High Sabbath. Okay? That's why your job encourages you to go and work on the Shabbat. Or everything is open on the Shabbat. And then Sunday, when you really want to go and do whatever it is because it's not the holy day, everything's closed. They mocking the Most High, right? Because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Understand? That's what they was trying to do when the advisors of Darius was trying to tell Daniel he can't pray to the Most High. Right? They were trying to mock the Most High with their wicked ways. But he was not having that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just putting it out there, man. There's nothing wrong with taking care of your family and stuff like that. You have to do it. It says that if you do not take care of your children, you're worse than an infidel. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we are not supposed to let our captivity break us away from what we know we're supposed to be doing. That's all I'm saying. You know, whatever you choose to do with that information, that's between you and the Most High. Everything I'm saying is with love and with the utmost fear of the Most High. Okay? So, captivity mocks at her Sabbaths. He mocks at the Most High Sabbaths. Okay? He mocks at the Sabbaths of Jerusalem. Alright? The children of the Most High. I got a quick scripture that I want to reference to this real quick. I'm going to go to Jeremiah 5 and 26. Alright? They mock at the Sabbaths of the Most High. Jeremiah 5 and 26. All right. This is what's going on in our captivity, and this is why we have to take our especially the Sabbath day. We have to take this thing very serious, okay? Because when you read in Jubilees and it's talking about shall surely die eternally. All right. This is Jeremiah 5 and 26. For among my people are found wicked men. This is what's going on in our captivity. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. That's why they set you up to work on the Shabbat. You know what I mean? That's a snare. Fight for your Sabbaths, man. Fight for your Sabbaths. Make as much noise as you can for your Sabbaths. Seriously. And if they're not giving you those Sabbaths, you pray and fast on what you should do. All I did was give a recommendation. You do that. You pray to the Most High. Fast to the Most High and ask him what you should do. Look at these scriptures again and ask what you should do. It's all here. Okay? So it says right here, this is what's happening in our captivity when they mock at the Most High Sabbaths, right? It says, for among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait. As he that setteth snares. They set a trap. They catch men. The earth is in the hands of the wicked. And he's setting a bunch of booby traps for the children of Israel. Alright, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go back to Jubilees chapter 2. And I'm going to read verse 28. Alright, this is a commandment from the Most High. Okay. All right. Jubilees chapter 2, verse 28. It says, and everyone who observeth it and keepeth Sabbath thereon from all his work will be holy and blessed throughout all days, like unto us. Like unto who? Jacob and his sons. Jacob, the 12 patriarchs. Jacob, go back even further than that. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? We'll receive the same blessings, those type of blessings. This Sabbath is a very big thing. It's not something that we just play around with. You know what I mean? It's very important that we really acknowledge this. And yes, you know, there's nothing wrong with, observing the Sabbath and with your friends and family and having holy convocations and admiring the works of the Most High. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a beautiful thing. But it has to circle back to the Most High. It can't be about what we trying to do. You know what I mean? So, so keep it and be blessed, according to Jubilees 2 and 28. All right. So I'm going to go back to Mark. So now we touching on keeping the Sabbath, right? So Mark 15 and 42. Mark 15 and 42. These are the boundaries that's set for us with the Shabbat. Okay? There are boundaries here. Okay? Mark 15 and 42. Mark 15 and 42 reads, and now when the evening was come, notice, right? Listen, when the evening was come, because it was the day of preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath. So the day before the Sabbath is the day of preparation. Okay? So you have 6 days to do everything you need to do. But that one day belongs to the Most High. All days belong to him. But that one day he's set apart. Okay, from all the other ones. So why am I coming here? Because Friday, according to scripture, is the day of preparation. Everything is supposed to be handled at least by Friday. You got a whole week to do that. But whatever little things you have to finish up before the Sabbath kick in, before the sun completely set, you have to do it on Friday. Okay? You could throughout the week, you could get everything you need. You could actually prep Sunday if you want to. But what I'm saying is, biblically, Friday is considered the day of preparation because it's the day before the Sabbath. All right? So Friday is the day of preparation, according to the Bible. All right. So we're going to go to Exodus 16 and 22. Again, what is the Sabbath and how to keep it? Okay. Exodus 16 and 22. So keep in mind, Friday is the day of preparation. What does that have to do with anything? With the Sabbath? We'll see. All right. Everything that you need to do has to be done before Saturday, before the seventh day. Okay. So Exodus 16 and 22. And that reads, and it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread. Why? Why did they gather twice as much bread? Because Friday was the day of preparation, right? I'm gonna read that again. And it came to pass on that on the sixth day is Friday, right? They gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. Verse 23. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Now, I'm going to start that verse again because this is not what I'm saying. This is one of those verses that is thus say the Lord. Okay? Verse 23. And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye shall bake, which ye will bake today. What day? The day of preparation. And seethe that ye will seethe. Seethe means to cook. And that which remaineth over, lay up for you to be kept until the morning. So on the day of preparation, you are to bake whatever you want for the Shabbat and cook whatever you want for the Shabbat. On the day of preparation, Exodus 16 verses 22 to 23. These are the boundaries set. Thus say the Lord. Okay? So, people ask things like, well, I've heard things like, and this is within the Hebrew community, things like, well, leave the oven on all night and you could just warm up your food. Now, for myself, you might feel a little different. For myself, from my understanding, if you put something in the oven and it is warming it, it is baking. I could be wrong, right? But if I'm wrong, I'm open to correction. But for myself and my own salvation, I'm not baking anything, because an oven and a stove is two different things. What do you do with an oven? You bake. And whatever is put in there, even if it's already cooked and you put it inside there, the heat is baking it. That's why if you don't cover it, it gets burnt. Right? So again, whatever you choose to do with that information, that's on you. And seething means to cook. So, and that's what you do on the stove top. So these two different compartments are used for two different things. So thus say the Lord. So I'm just bringing that up because these are the kind of things that actually circle around the Hebrew community. And thus say the Lord. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna just leave that there. Whatever you choose to do with that information, you do with that, right? But we're gonna link up the precept right now, right? Exodus 35 and 3. Again, what is the Sabbath and how to keep it according to the Most High? Okay, Exodus 35 and 3. It reads. Now notice he say not to cook, not to bake. You need an element to do these things. I'm gonna just read. 35 and 3. Exodus 35 and 3. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation upon the Sabbath day. Okay. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation upon the Sabbath day. Thus say the Lord. These is his scriptures. Okay. So let me start from 31 just to show that this. It says, Slakia 35 and 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord had commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be unto you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. We seeing what type of death he's talking about there. It's not only speaking of a stoning. Okay. Verse 3, ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. So then you hear things like, well, if I turn on the light, that's a fire. But I mean, I don't see that as a fire, but whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. To me, a fire is fire, flame, burning continuously. You know what I'm saying? That's a fire. There's things talked about what the Levites did that was set up for the Levites. Every Israelite is not a Levite. Just putting that out there. All right. So, and also there's scriptures that talk about, there's certain things about, what the Levites did. Again, that was for the Levites. So we're just touching on all these things. Again, this is information that's coming from the Bible, from the Most High's mouth. Whatever you choose to do with it, that's between you and the Most High. All right? But just bringing it out. Nehemiah. We're going to go to Nehemiah 13 and 15. Okay. Again, what is the Sabbath and how to operate on it? So we found out we're not supposed to cook. We're not supposed to bake. We're not supposed to kindle or ignite any fires on the Shabbat. Okay. Kindle or ignite any fires on the Shabbat. All right. So that's what it is. Nehemiah 13 and 15. And here we go. Nehemiah 13 and 15. And this is talking about the restoration of the Sabbath. Okay, under the watchful eye of Nehemiah. Okay, it says here, in those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath. Okay, so he saw some people working on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and ladding asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens. We read earlier we're not supposed to bring any burdens in, right? We're not supposed to be dealing with no burdens, no kind of work on the Shabbat, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. Victuals is food, provisions and stuff like that, you know, stuff that you use to prepare, to cook your food, and, you know, what people are called sides or stuff like that, right? Anyway, verse 16, it says, there dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah in Jerusalem, Slakin. Verse 17, it says, and I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our power bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. Okay, so he's talking to the men of Judah, the people of Judah, and letting them know, listen, these guys are setting up and selling and all kind of stuff. You know, you're bringing more curses to us. All right? We're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to buy or sell on the Shabbat. All right? Verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, all right, he says, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath. So you want to buy something, buy it after the Sabbath. You want to sell something, sell it after the Sabbath, but not on the Most High's holy day. Okay? So what he did was before the day of preparation was finished, in other words, when the sun was setting on Friday, he shut the gates to Jerusalem. He shut the gates. All right? And when it was over, he opened it back up. Now y'all could do what y'all, you know, you want to sell, you want to buy, go ahead, but not on the Sabbath. Okay? Where we at here? 19, it says, and it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kinds of ware lodged on the without Jerusalem once or twice. So these people were real adamant on selling these things on the holy day, on the Sabbath, right? So Nehemiah peeped them out, like, you know, what y'all doing over there, right? It says, then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? So why hang out around here, right? Y'all trying to defile the Most High's people. Why y'all sitting here when we not supposed to buy or sell on the Sabbath? He says, then I testify against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you. For that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath day. So he ran them off. You know what I'm saying? That was the zeal that he had. You're not going to profane the Most High's day. Okay? And you know, this stuff, this is real powerful, man, because even when you're working on the Sabbath, right? If you're working on the Sabbath, you always hear the terms, especially when you have a job that is a career or something like that. They'll normally tell you things like, well, you got to build your brand or something like that, right? So when you're building your brand, you're selling yourself. You understand? Basically, how much are your services worth? That's what a job is. You're providing your services and selling it to somebody, and they pay you for your services. So even when you work on the Shabbat, you're pretty much doing the same thing that we're reading about right now. Again, open for reproof, right? Verse 22, Salakia. It says, and I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my power, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. All praises to the Most High. So we're not supposed to buy or sell on the Shabbat neither. All right. I'm going to go to Jubilees. I'm going to go to Jubilees. And then after I touch on this Jubilees verse, we're also going to tackle, I got a couple more verses here. It's going to be pretty swift, right? We're going to tackle the Shabbat in the New Testament, because according to the Christian churches and theologian schools and all kind of stuff, the Sabbath was something of old or something like that. You know, it changed or something. You know what I mean? Malachi 3:6 says, I am the Lord, I change not. Okay? The scriptures also say that the Messiah or the Mashiach he is the Lord of the Sabbath. So if he's the Lord of the Sabbath and Malachi 3:6 say, I am the Lord, I change not, then who changed it? Or did it change at all? Or are your oppressors mocking the Sabbath? Are your oppressors setting up snares to catch men? Understand what's going on here. And even a pastor that's lying is setting a snare. Ask him what scripture is that. Tell him to prove it to you. There's nothing wrong with that. Tell him to prove it to you. All right? Sanctify the Most High in your heart, and be willing to give every man an answer according to the hope that is within you, according to the book of Peter. All right? So we're going to get Jubilees 50:6. Now, I'm bringing this up because, again, Jubilees has a lot of information about the Shabbat. And I pray that you receive this, okay? Because these are some nuggets right here that you're not going to, your pastor won't tell you. And I'm not even too sure if, some of Yasharala discuss these things amongst each other. So we're going to touch on this. The brothers and sisters that we study with, we privy to these things, but some people might not be. Okay, so we're going to get it. This is Jubilees 50:6. And again, if you don't have the book of Jubilees, please listen along or look it up online real quick and follow along. Jubilees 50:6. Okay, we're still talking about how to keep the Sabbath. After I'm done here, we're going to show that even in the New Testament, the Sabbath is still kept. Okay, so this is Jubilees 50:6. And it reads, and behold, the commandment regarding the Sabbaths, I have written them down for thee, and all the judgments of its laws. 6 days wilt thou do labor, right? 6 days wilt thou labor, Salakia. But on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your power. In it ye shall do no manner of work. Ye and your sons and your men servants and your maidservants and all your cattle and the sojourner also who is with you. So when you have people that come to your house, even if they come to your house, they are to keep the Sabbath within your home because you fear God and they're under your roof. So they have to fall in line with those laws and commandments too when they're in your home. Period. And, you know, if they're not, you know, liking that, or they're not feeling it, or they think you're being strict, hey, you know, just let them know, you know, that's how it is here. And, you know, you're free to come back at another time, I guess, if you're willing to let them come back to your home. But don't let nobody, you know, defile your home neither. You know what I mean? So it says, and the sojourner also who is with you. Okay, verse 8. And the man that doeth any work on it shall die. We read what death is talking about. It's not only talking about stoning. Okay, it's talking about death eternally too. Whoever desecrated that day, whoever lieth with his wife, or whoever saith he will do something on it. So I'm going to pause for a second. On the Sabbath day, according to the book of Jubilees, you're not to have relations with your wife like that. It's not saying you can't kiss her or anything like that, but you're not supposed to have intercourse or those type of things with your wife on the Sabbath. It's not about you or your wife on the Sabbath. It's about the Most High. Okay? And that will be considered your own pleasures. Con. So, verse 8, it says, and the man that doeth any work on it shall die. Whoever desecrated that day, whoever liveth with, whoever lieth with his wife, or whoever saith he will do something on it, that he will set out on a journey thereon in regard to buying or to any buying or selling, and whoever draweth water thereon, which he had not prepared for himself on the 6th day, the day of preparation, and whoever taketh up any burden to himself on the 6th day, and whoever taketh carry it out of his tent or out of his house shall die. So, you know, I'm gonna mention this, man. We know that when Christ came, he showed us the mercy of the commandments, right? Especially regarding the Sabbath day and dealing with burdens, because he says, if a sheep is in a hole, will you not help him out? That's a righteous thing. Again, that's a situation that that will be considered work, but it's a righteous work, right? A man has regard for his beast, right? I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you know how it is. That's in scripture. So, you know, an animal is in a hole, or, you know, like it says, just look at it this way. If it's a sheep and you'll help the sheep out of a hole, how much more will you help a man that is in a hole or that is in a bind on the Sabbath day? It's not unlawful to help your brother. Love thy neighbor like you love yourself on the Sabbath. So if you have to buy food for a person who doesn't have food, even though we're not supposed to buy and sell, the Messiah showed us that there's mercy there. There's grace there. Because you're doing a righteous work, you are loving your neighbor like you love yourself. So, understand there are boundaries with it, but if it is within the fruits of the Spirit, there is a blessing there. Okay? There's a blessing there. So, remember, in Galatians 5, it says, against the fruits of the Spirit, there is no law. Right? But we know that he did give a specific law about working on the Sabbath. About working on the Sabbath. There is a law tied to working on the Sabbath. So again, that information, that's whatever you choose to do with that. But again, we touched on you're not supposed to lie with your wife on the Shabbat. Verse 9, it says here. And we, you know, I want please understand me very clearly. I'm not saying that there's no grace towards the Sabbath day. There is. But it's particular. And it's not as broad as people think. At least from my perspective, I understand that it says the path is straight and narrow. It's not broad. So, oh, well, you know, I just got to do it. Nah, it don't work that way. It don't work that way. We are supposed to, you know, not worry about nothing more than pleasing the Most High. Nothing comes before that. So, anyway, Jubilees 50 and 9. Ye shall do no work whatever on the Sabbath day, save that ye have prepared for yourselves on the 6th day. Again, Friday is the day of preparation. So as to eat and to drink and rest and keep Sabbath from all work on that day, and bless the Lord your God, who given you a day of festival. The Sabbath day is considered a feast day. Brothers and sisters, are we able to keep the feast day, the feast portion of the Sabbath without cooking? Yes, we are. What is it? It's called a picnic. You make sandwiches, bring fruit, bring juice, bring water, bring bananas, avocados. All these different things is still considered a feast. You can even cook the food the day before and set it out, leave it out. It's no good in 3 days. You leave it out, it's at room temperature. Yeah, it might not be hot, but so be it. I mean, there's people who don't have any food to eat. There you have some nice cooked food that's set aside. You eat it. Voila. You know what I'm saying? So the Sabbath day is also considered a feast day, a festival, a holy convocation, a day of rest, a delight. It's a feast day, and it's a sign between us and the Most High. So it says, ye shall do no work whatever on the Sabbath day, save that ye have prepared for yourselves on the 6th day, so as to eat and drink and rest and keep Sabbath from all work on that day, and to bless the Lord your God, who has given you a day of festival, a holy day, and a day of the holy kingdom for all Israel is this day among their days forever. Okay, so the Sabbath is a holy day forever. All right. Verse 10, it says, for great is the honor which the Lord giveth to Israel, that ye should eat and drink and be satisfied on this festival day. Again, he's telling you can do everything. You can feast on the Sabbath day without doing anything that violates what he already said. Okay. I want to read this too real quick, because also, you know, I know that sometimes it's mentioned as cooking would be considered a burnt offering, but I want to read this scripture. Again, this information I'm putting out there, and you do what you do what the Most High leads you to do with it. Okay. So this is Deuteronomy 12 and 13. Because again, when we talking about cooking, sometimes people look at it as it's a burnt offering. Again, burnt offerings and all that was set up for the Levites to do, not just any old Israelite. For instance, if that's the case, if any one of the 12 tribes could just do what the Levites was set up to do in their office, then that means that any old Levite could go in. I mean, any old Israelite could go and touch the Ark of the Covenant. We know that ain't true. So why would it be different when it comes to the offices of the Levites, right? But check this out. This is Deuteronomy 12 and 13. It says here, take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offerings in every place that thou seest. Okay? I'm bringing that up because burnt offerings is tied directly to Jerusalem. Not any old place and you just, spark a fire is a burnt offering. That's no. No, that's not what the Bible says. So again, putting the information out there, you do with it however the Spirit leads you, whether you find it to be fruitful or you find it to be bones, that's between you and the Most High. All right. Jubilees 50 and 10. For great is the honor which the Lord had given to Israel, that they should eat and drink and be satisfied on this festival day, and rest thereon from all labor which belongeth to the labor of the children of men. So that stuff belongs to the children of men, and the Most High is allowing us to take part in his holy feast. Okay? It says, save burning frankincense and bringing oblations and sacrifices before the Lord for days and for Sabbaths. Again, pertaining to the Levites. Pertaining to the Levites. The way in biblical times, you cannot say you're going to, in the Old Testament, you can't say you're bringing a sacrifice and you just start burning the sacrifice. And if you think I'm lying, read on what happened with Saul. He jumped ahead of Samuel, and it was a problem between him and the Most High. I'll tell you no story. Look it up, right? Verse 11, Jubilees 50 and 11. This work alone shall be done on the Sabbath days in the sanctuary of the Lord your God. So where's the sanctuary at? In Jerusalem. That precepts with Deuteronomy 12 and 13, which I just brought up, right? Don't burn offerings in every place that thou seest. That's set up to the land. That's connected to the land. All right. Salakia, Jubilees 50 and 11. It says, this work alone shall be done on the Sabbath days in the sanctuary of the Lord your God, that they may atone for Israel with sacrifice continually from day to day for a memorial well-pleasing before the Lord, and that he may receive them always from day to day according as thou hast been commanded. Okay, verse 12. And every man who doeth any work thereon, or goeth a journey, or tilleth his farm, whether in his house or any other place. Check this out, man. Or any other place, or who lighteth a fire, or rideth on any beast, or travelleth by ship, or on the sea, or striketh or killeth anything. You're not even supposed to kill an ant on the Shabbat. Con. Right? Or slaughtereth a bird, or a beast, or a bird, or whoever catcheth the animal, or a bird, or a fish, or whoever fasteth or maketh war on the Shabbats. You're not supposed to have relations with your wife on the Sabbath. I'm talking about sexual relations. No. You're not supposed to cook on the Shabbat. You're not supposed to buy or sell on the Shabbat. You're not supposed to, it talks about traveling, right? You're not supposed to travel on the Shabbat. But again, if you're moving to do the work of the Most High, that is something different. For instance, if me and the brothers is like, okay, it's the Shabbat, we about to go out here and go street preach. That's work towards the kingdom. It's a form of worship to the Most High. So yes, for work like that, you can travel to go meet up with the brethren, to go and street preach, to wake up the Most High's people so the harvest is full. You can do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a thin line when you're trying to use grace. It's not just for everything. And it's not a broad thing neither. It has to be directed to the Most High in every fashion. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and you're not supposed to fast on the Shabbat. All right. Now you probably ask. You see, I like to tackle things that would be said or may come up as a question, because one thing I know is that if you're dealing with truth, you should not have to shy away from anything. Okay. So a person can ask me straight up, well, if you can't fast on the Sabbath, then how did Moses and how did Christ and Enoch and them, how did they fast for 40 days and 40 nights? They started before the Sabbath. See, again, grace is very selective. It's conditional on situations, but it has to be laser focused to the Most High. So if you fasting on the Sabbath, you cannot start your fast on the Sabbath. That's what it's speaking of. But if your fasting started from Sunday to Sunday and it continued through the Sabbath, you did not start your fast on the Shabbat. That's why Moses was able to fast 40 days and 40 nights. That's why Yeshua was able to fast 40 days and 40 nights. Enoch and so forth. All right. So verse 13, Jubilees 50 and 13, it says, the man who doeth any of these things on the Sabbath shall die. Again, we read about what it's talking about, what type of death it's talking about. It's not just talking about stoning. shall die, so that the children of Israel shall observe the Sabbaths according to the commandments regarding the Sabbaths of the land, as it is written in the tables, which he gave into my hands, that I should write out for thee the laws of the seasons, and the seasons according to the divisions of their days. So, I read something that's very interesting, and this is what I was mentioning earlier, but it's beyond my strength. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to mention it because it's here. Okay? It says here, the man who doeth any of these things on the Sabbath day shall die, so that the children of Israel shall observe the Sabbaths according to the commandments regarding the Sabbaths of the land. So, in captivity, are we supposed to keep the Sabbaths, keep the laws and commandments? Absolutely. When it's talking about the Sabbaths of the land here, I know that Jerusalem, the land of Jerusalem, it had its own Sabbaths pertaining to the land itself. For instance, like you talk about a Jubilee, like if you grew agriculture in the land, there was a rule that you can't even take certain fruits until a certain time, because it was still within, the land was still within its Sabbath. It was still within its rest. You know what I'm saying? So as far as the Sabbaths of the land and trying to connect that with, should we keep it in our captivity? Again, what I look at with Daniel kept the commandments of God throughout his captivity all the way to the end, and he was considered a righteous man. So by his blueprint, you know, and our forefathers, the disciples, all of them that was under Roman persecution, they still kept the commandments. They still kept the Sabbath. So I would say, yes, we are still supposed to keep it. Okay? So, now, I'm going to touch on these scriptures real quick. Dealing with the Sabbath and the New Testament. You know, they say the law is done away with. It's talking about the sacrificial law. It's not talking about the commandments. Okay? 1 John 3 and 4 lets us know very clearly, for sin is the transgression of the law. Okay? So, if the whole law is done away with, then that means there's no sin in the earth. Obviously, there's still sin in the earth, so the law still stands. 1 John 3 and 4, jot it down, check it out for yourself, give it to your pastor or anybody that's telling you that the law is done away with, and tell them to explain that. Alright? Okay. So, now we're just going to highlight the Sabbath being kept in the New Testament for all those who have been told that that is no longer in effect, and so now you can keep it on Sunday, and all kind of other stuff. That's not biblical. It never changed. And I'm going to start it off with Hebrews chapter 4. It's a very powerful scripture, and I pray that, you know, anybody that you have that's still stuck in that Christian doctrine, that has not been able to realize that the Most High is calling his people to be obedient to his laws and commandments, please share this with them. You'll be doing them a service. You know, we ought to be servants unto one another, and this would be a beautiful service unto your brother, onto your sister, onto your neighbor. All right. So Hebrews chapter 4, we're going to start at verse 1. And then after that, I got a couple scriptures here, man. We should be pinning it up soon. All right. So Hebrews chapter 4, verse 1. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. Don't play with these Sabbaths, man. Don't play with these commandments and stuff, man. It says, for unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them. Those is talking about those who don't take heed to the truth, who's not paying attention to what's being said here, right? It says, for unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. Okay? The law still stands. Verse 3. For we which have believed do enter into his rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, and Ahiah did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief. The Sabbath stands. And right now we're in the segment touching on the New Testament and the Shabbat. Sabbath in the New Testament. Okay? Verse 7. Again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Yeshua had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? He has never spoken of another Sabbath. I'm going to keep going. And this is New Testament, y'all. This is Hebrews. Verse 9. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of Ahiah. For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works, as the Most High, Ahiah, did from his. Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. For the word of Ahiah is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of thoughts and intents of the heart. Verse 13. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and opened unto the eyes of him whom we have to do. All right, this is Sabbath in the New Testament. All right, so we're gonna go to Matthew 5 and 17. Matthew 5 and 17. We in the last leg of this study. Matthew 5 and 17. And I'm gonna read here. This is red letter. Think not I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am come not to destroy, but to fulfill. Fulfill what? Fulfill the prophecies. Are the prophecies done being fulfilled? No, because the earth is not finished. Heaven and earth is not done. We are right now in the last days, the last book of Revelations. So all has not been fulfilled. All the prophecies have not been fulfilled yet. They are rolling out. And we are very nigh. This is high time. Okay? We are in the last days. I'm going to read that again. Verse 17. Think not I come to destroy the law. Sabbath still stands. New Testament. Or the prophets. I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, until, right, which is synonymous to with until heaven and earth pass, we are still on earth, and the heavens are still above us, right? Till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle, right, in no wise shall pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. So nothing should be removed from the law, not even a period or a comma, until all prophecies be fulfilled. Fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, right? Keep the Sabbath day holy, right? The laws and commandments, the 10 commandments as a whole, and shall teach men so. Christian church pastors are doing this right now, right? And teach men so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, This same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Parents, this falls on us too. Why? Train up a child in the way which they should go. So we're not supposed to even be teaching our kids anything outside of the commandments of the Most High and, wavering with this thing. Okay, we're not. All right. We're going to go to Luke 4:16. All right. So Christ said out his own mouth, he did not come to destroy the law or the prophets. And until heaven and earth pass, these laws and commandments are still in effect. And that's including the Sabbath. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Luke 4:16. All right. We know 1 John 2:6, if I'm not mistaken, tells us if we abide in him, we ought to walk even as he walked. Let's see how Christ walked. Did Christ keep the Sabbath? Let's find out. Luke 4:16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up to read. All right, that's our Messiah taking part in a holy convocation on the Sabbath. Right? So if we're supposed to take part in a holy convocation and even the Messiah did it, how we look if we're not doing it on the Sabbath? Again, I'm putting this information out here through the Spirit of the Most High. Whatever you do with it, that is between you and the Most High. But again, work out your own salvation with fear and tremblance. Fear and tremblance. You know, I can hear it now. Don't be over righteous. Over righteous. You gotta be careful with how you use that word. Over righteous is saying stuff like you're not supposed to have children in these days. What? Where is that in the Bible? That's over righteous. But yeah, Christ preached on the Sabbath. Let me get another witness real quick. Mark 6:2. Mark 6:2. Mark 6:2, it reads, and when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were astonished, saying, from whence has this man these things? And what wisdom is this which is given unto him, that even such mighty works are wrought by his hands? Okay, so there you go. Christ preached on the Sabbath. He was taking part in a holy convocation, in a spiritual assembly of the people. You know, we got when you dealing with Israel, a lot of times, you know, it says knowledge puffeth up, right? As milky as the Sabbath is, the topic of the Sabbath, when you talk about the Sabbath, that should be like one of the first things you learn as coming into this truth. But a lot of things are not disclosed, like, lying with your wife and fasting on the Sabbath. Certain things are not put out there right away. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to get back to this stuff. But a lot of times, Israel, he says Israel, is a stiff-necked people, man. We are continually supposed to go back to the law and establish and reroot ourselves in the law. But a lot of times people might, I got that. You know what I'm saying? Well, they have an assembly on that. I already got that down pat. I don't need to, it's cool. Don't even trip. You know what I'm saying? It's good. But according to the Bible, a holy convocation. Convocate with somebody. Get with somebody. It needs to be some kind of fellowship going on. So that's just what it is, man. Even Christ did it. So ain't none of us on that level. So now, Christian church like to use Paul. What did Paul do on the Sabbath? Was Paul keeping the Sabbath, or was he going to church on a Sunday? Let's see. We're going to go to Acts 18:4. All praises to the Most High. And after that, I got 1, 2, 3, few more. So Acts 18:4. It reads here. This is Paul. And it's titled "The Jews Reject Paul." It says, "And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath." He wasn't there on no Sunday. Every Sabbath, right? And persuaded the Jews and the Greeks. That's what Paul did. Let me get another witness real quick. We're going to stay in Acts. We're going to get, come on. Acts 13:42. Acts 13:42. You know, but Paul said he preached in the Sabbath. Okay? Acts 13:42. And when the Jews gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. Not next Sunday, the next Sabbath. Right? Verse 43. Now when the congregation was broken up, many of the Jews and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who speaking to them persuaded them to continue in the grace of Ahiah. Verse 44. And the next Sabbath came almost a whole city to gather to hear the word of Ahiah. Sabbath after Sabbath. Even Paul kept it. Somebody lying. Let's get the next one. Still in Acts. Acts chapter 17 verse 1. And when they had passed through, man, that's a doozy, that word right there. Hold on. Let me catch my breath. Now when they had passed through Amphipolis, okay, and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews. Verse 2. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scriptures. Holy convocation. Reasoning on the Sabbath. Okay, showing worship. So now we took care of Paul. Let's go to Matthew 12:11. Because not only did they preach on the Sabbath, but when the Messiah came, he showed us how to how to utilize grace on the Sabbath when dealing with situations that is within the fruits of the Spirit. So this right here, Matthew 12:11, and he said unto them, red letter, what man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days. Doing well on the Sabbath days is doing the 2 greatest commandments. Loving thy God with all your heart and soul, and having no God before him, and loving thy neighbor like you love yourself. All right, so that's how you apply grace to the Sabbath. That's how you apply grace to the commandments. Not so broad, oh, well, my captive said, and we in captivity, so, da. What did Daniel do in captivity? What can you say then against that? One more. Luke 23:55. And after this, I got one more scripture, and I'm going to leave it on the table. And, I hope that it's been a help to anybody that was seeking this out. Again, it was something that kind of came across my path for, this kind of study to come out. So all praises to the Most High. And I hope that it's beneficial to those that were seeking this information. And also to those who, may have had it all locked up in their head. Either way, it should be some kind of blessing coming out of it. A higher willing. Luke 23:55, it says, and the women also which came with him from Galilee, followed after and beheld the sepulchre and how his body was laid. Verse 56. And they returned and prepared spices and ointments and rested the Sabbath day according to the commandment. Okay, so this is what they did before they went on the first day of the week. They rested on the Sabbath. By the time they got there, on the first day of the week, he was already risen. So, last but not least, Jubilees 2 and 28. And I'm going to read all the way down to the end of the chapter. And this is my last scripture here. And so Jubilees 2 and 28, it says, and everyone who observeth it and keepeth Sabbath thereon from all his work will be holy and blessed throughout all days like unto us.
Holy things. Keep the Sabbath holy, says Exodus 20 and 8. A higher sanctify that beautiful day. He said, remember my saints. On the seventh day he rested, commanded us to do the same. Have holy convocation, only do holy things. Exodus 20 and 8, a higher sanctify that beautiful day. He said, remember my saints. On the seventh day he rested, commanded us to do the same. Have holy convocation, only do holy things. Yeah.